This video is sponsored by Squarespace. What is going on, guys? Vincent here from thecreativedojo.net. Hope you're doing well out there. Today's After Effects quick tutorial, I want to share with you guys kind of how to create these kind of wavy type wave tree animations, wave transition effects right within After Effects using the built-in tools. This effect primarily relies on the Wave Warp plugin within After Effects. I'm going to kind of walk you through kind of some of the things I'm playing around with, some kind of quirks of the plugins, and how to create something like this using the effect right here. So let's go ahead and hop right into After Effects here. Let's go ahead and create a new composition, and we'll call this main comp. We'll make it 1080p, we'll make it 5 seconds long and hit OK. Let's go ahead and create a new solid layer. So layer new solid or Control or Command Y. We'll go ahead and call this BG. We'll make it comp size, and we'll go ahead and kind of create, I don't know, kind of like a warmish tone right here. Maybe like a nice kind of peach color right here. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and add a shape layer just so we have something to work with. I'm gonna go to layer, new shape layer, and we'll go ahead and add a polystar. And we'll go ahead and add a gradient fill as well. So this is a kind of an ugly star right here. We're gonna go into the polystar path. We'll change the points to 3. We'll go ahead and change the rotation from 0 to 90 degrees. So we just kind of rotate it to the side. And we'll actually change the type from star to polygon right here. And we'll go ahead and increase the radius. And we'll go ahead and go to the transform, uncheck the uniform scaling, and kind of stretch this out. So we have kind of like a long rectangle, something like this. And we'll change the color to something a little bit more pleasing. So let's go ahead and kind of create this nice warm pink color. We'll start with this nice warm color like this, and we'll hit OK. And we'll go ahead and adjust the kind of gradient start and end point. So we'll kind of just move this back a little bit so we have a nice cleaner gradient. This shape can actually be whatever you want. You can use the pen tool to draw your own custom shape. I just decided to use a triangle to kind of demonstrate what's going on here with the effect. So we'll call this wave. And to the whole key of this thing is the wave warp effect under distort. It's limited to 16 bits per channel. We'll drag it into our shape layer right here. And so right off the bat, we get this really weird kind of sine wave kind of thing going on. And this is kind of like a new effect I've been playing around with. It doesn't seem super awesome, but you can actually do a lot of cool stuff with this effect. Now, this effect is really common to create kind of stuff like flags in After Effects. So if you wanted to create kind of like a rippling flag in the air, this would be kind of a basic good place to start. We have the wave type, which defines the kind of algorithm that creates the wave right here. So we have a square type, triangle, sawtooth. So these are all mathematical functions that kind of define, what kind of distortion we're getting. We can also get a smooth or a regular noise. But for typically, for stuff like wind, people typically stick with like sine, something smooth like this. We can increase the height, and then we can go ahead and increase the width. So it's a little bit more spread out. So already you can imagine if we use this on an actual image, like a logo or a banner graphic, this could simulate kind of like a flag rippling in the air. And so if we increase it like this, and here you can change the wave speed. So it actually auto animates here. So I'm gonna go ahead and change this to half. And just by default with the wave speed of 1, it actually auto animates just like this. So this could be a pretty cool kind of like little flag right here. I'm gonna go ahead and increase the wave speed to like 2. And here you can change the direction of the flow. So 90 degrees is kind of what we want, but of course you can always change this to whatever you want. And so the phase is going to be kind of like the evolution of the animation. So you can define this, you can randomize it to, add variation. And of course you have the anti-aliasing, which will kind of control the aliasing of the distortion. Now, the most interesting and most important feature here is the pinning function. So I'm going to demonstrate this. It's kind of a quirk that I think I found within this effect. So I'm going to just scale it down right here. So right now this shape layer is kind of just rippling in the air. This is not really fixed, and this is not really fixed. So you can imagine if you wanted to create a banner or a flag, or if you wanted to use this for someone's hair, or some sort of flame animation, you don't want both sides to be kind of just flickering around and kind of flopping around. Typically, you want one side to be fixed, either fixed to a flagpole, fixed to some character's head, fixed to some object. You wouldn't want it kind of moving up and down like this. And so this is where the pinning can come in handy. So you can actually pin things to the left edge, the top edge, the bottom edge, the horizontal edges, the center. And so you would think, okay, I applied this effect to this shape layer. Let's go ahead and hit left edge. And you're going to see that it does shift it a little bit, but this section right here is still moving up and down. So it's not even being fixed. It's not being pinned. And so just based on some Google search and some forum searches, it seems like the wave warp pinning is not based on the layer that's applied to per se. It's based on the composition edges right here. So this is a huge, I think, limitation of this effect. But you'll notice if I just undo the scale, and now we have the flag at the edge of our composition. And now if we set it to left edge, you're going to see that this flag object right here, it's not moving at all on the left side. It's actually pinned to the left side. And if we wanted to flip it and we want to, release this and pin this side, we'll change it to right edge. And you're going to notice that for the most part, this part right here stays pretty fixed. And so that's kind of one of the biggest quirks of this effect, and it kind of limits what we can do. And it kind of forces us to kind of, pre-compose things. And I really, really don't like that. And so hopefully, this effect will be updated to where we can actually, pin things based on the layer space rather than the comp space right here. But that's what we have to work with. There's a lot you can do with this. For example, if we go ahead and apply a linear wipe and apply it to the shape layer, and we go ahead and increase the completion to like 50%, and we change the wipe angle down to 0, you can see how we can create kind of like a dust trail. So let's say you were having a car or a vehicle or something, you can actually animate kind of like the trail that way and kind of pin it to the ground and then pin it to the car. And so you can create some dust waves this way, some dust, some smoke. So, just kind of giving you guys some basic ideas on what you can do other than this basic look right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pre-compose this shape layer. Pre-compose, we'll move all attributes into the new composition, and we'll call this wave 01. Okay. And I'll go ahead and go into the composition and make a few edits. And so right here we have our kind of trail. It's not very symmetrical, which is fine for a lot of cases. But if you wanted to make it symmetrical, there's an effect called mirror. We'll add it in, and we'll change the reflection angle to 90 degrees. And we'll just kind of reposition everything here. So that way you're getting a very symmetrical shape. So in our particular case, it's flowing to the right. I want it to flow negative 90 degrees, kind of trailing backwards, just like this. And so now we have a nice little effect of trailing smoke. We'll go back into our main composition, and we'll go ahead and just create some kind of dummy kind of car layer or rocket layer or whatever. I'm going to go ahead and create a new shape. We'll go ahead and again create a new polystar, and we'll go ahead and add a fill this time. And we'll fill this to, I don't know, maybe like a nice yellow color, like so. And we'll go into the polystar again. We'll change the polygons. We'll change 3 points, and we'll kind of decrease the outer radius, and we'll rotate it 90 degrees. And this is going to be kind of our leader layer or our kind of rocket ship. So I'm going to just call it rocket, just so we have a demonstration of what's going on. We'll go ahead and move this to somewhere around here, and we'll adjust our wave to be, kind of like a little smoke trail right here. And we'll go ahead and parent the wave 1 to the rocket, and we'll go ahead and animate the rocket real quick. So hit P on the keyboard for position. We'll go forward in time. Maybe we'll start it at a frame. We'll move forward maybe like 2.5 seconds or so, and we'll bring it into frame, more or less. We'll go ahead and go to animation, keyframe assistant, easy ease, and then we'll go into the keyframe editor, and we will just kind of pull this right here. Or you can use my nifty Dojo E script here, available at creativedojo.net, shameless plug. So now we have a rocket that comes in like this, and we have our kind of smoke trail. And then what you can do is you can go into the wave 1 in the project panel, go ahead and hit Control or Command D to duplicate it, and we'll bring the wave 2 into our composition, and we'll parent our wave 2 to our rocket as well. And we'll go into the wave 2 and we'll go ahead and just change the colors, right? Because we don't want it to be the exact same. Maybe I'll make this more of a burnt orange color. And of course, we'll go into the shape for sure and kind of just changes up. We'll go into the path, maybe we'll decrease the radius. And then we'll go into the mirror and we'll kind of readjust the point right here. And we'll go into the scale and we'll just kind of expand this just a little bit here. So it's slightly different. We'll go back into our main comp and we'll bring the wave 2 in front of the wave 1. And as you can see here, it looks the exact same. So we'll go back in and we'll change the phase to maybe like 90 degrees just to offset it just a little bit. And maybe we'll shrink down the Y scale just a hair and adjust the mirror. We'll go back to the main comp and we'll just kind of reposition this. Like that. We can try to go into the solid settings and maybe change the background to, I'm feeling more of a dark theme. So maybe we can go like a dark, like a dark kind of color like this and just kind of play around with it. In the original demonstration, I added a little bit of kind of like a noisy grain texture. I'm making a really awesome preset for this that's coming out soon, so stay tuned for that on the Creative Dojo YouTube channel. But for now, a really quick little hack is to add a layer style and either do an inner glow or a bevel and emboss. And that will kind of create something that you can kind of work with. So we'll go into the inner glow, we'll go ahead and increase the size. And you can see the red layer right here. And so typically what I like to do is I like to create kind of like a highlight pink layer. We'll change the blending mode from screen to dissolve. And that's really going to give us a different look here. So maybe like this color, and we can go ahead and change the size just to kind of change it up a little bit. We'll go and copy this inner glow. We'll paste it into our wave 02. Of course, you need to go back into the layer styles for this one and really change the color to something else, something like this. And maybe we'll go into the wave 02. We will duplicate this one last time, go into the wave 02, and maybe for this one, we can just add a stroke rather than a fill. So delete the gradient fill, and we'll stick with the stroke. Maybe we'll expand it just a hair, shrink it just a hair, and we'll change the phase angle to maybe 180, maybe wave speed to 1.7, just change it up a little bit. And maybe increase the width. And so that should give us a different look. We'll bring our wave 3 into the frame, maybe between the two, and we will parent it to the rocket, and we will reposition this thing as such. And the stroke needs to be a little bit bigger than 2 pixels, so maybe 6 or so. And we'll change the color to an offset gray, maybe a light warm, just a little more variation. You can even use tapered strokes. You can do whatever you want. We'll go ahead and copy the inner glow layer styles again. We'll paste it into the rocket. In the original demonstration, I also added kind of a roughen edges to kind of give this thing a whole imperfect look. I also added a posterized time to give it kind of a choppy look as well. And then for the background, a really quick, dirty method for something simple like this is actually duplicate the background. Control-Command-D. We'll actually darken things just a little bit like this. And I just take a mask tool here and just draw random shapes like this. Close it up. So we have something like this. We'll hit F on the keyboard, bring up the mask feather. We'll feather it out. And then we will go ahead and hit F4 or toggle the switcher slash modes and change this top layer to dissolve. So it's basically the same thing. We're going to create a kind of like a weird kind of grain just like this. And here you can adjust the mask to, do whatever shape you want. And then you can feather it out. You can also decrease the opacity so it's not as strong. Finally, in the original demonstration, I made all these things 3D layers. And so that we can create a camera, a one node camera, we'll call it camera, 35 millimeters is fine. And then hit P on the keyboard. I'm going to hit Alt or Option, click on the stopwatch to create an expression, and we'll type in var x equals wiggle. Let's just say 0.04 and 150. And we'll take the first parameter of that, var y equals wiggle again. So let's do something else like 0.5 to 100. and we'll get the Y component, and then we'll combine it all together for our 3D position. So X, Y, and then we'll just keep our Z position. So value 2, and hit OK. And that will just give you kind of like a subtle camera shake. So we have our, our triangle flying in, and then we have our camera just kind of slowly moving. And of course, you can do more to this. You can add more elements. You can add little particles flying by. You can use this. You can ditch the whole triangle and create kind of like a diagonal transition, and use it to kind of reveal certain layers or mats or footage using track mats and alpha mats, and use this to drive transitions. The only downside is that it doesn't behave like a particle system. So, if you were to move this and create like weird paths and stuff, it wouldn't bend as you would expect like a particle system. So that is kind of like a caveat that you need to be aware of. But you can draw custom shapes. You can go ahead and animate shapes along paths and do a whole bunch of cool expressions and shape stuff, and then add a wave warp to it and kind of, really create your own thing. You can even do a lot more displacement stuff using stuff under the distort category within After Effects. So, the sky's the limit. Play around with it. You can create fires with it. You can create smoke, hairs. A whole bunch of stuff with this. Before I go, I want to give a quick thanks to our sponsors over at Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. Squarespace is the all-in-one platform to create an amazing website, whether it's for a store, online business, or portfolio. They have amazing themes to choose from, fully customizable so you can get the way you want it to look like without having any coding knowledge required. They have awesome 24-hour support, and best of all, use the promo code DOJO at checkout. You can actually save 10% off your order and support the Dojo, so check it out over at squarespace.com/dojo. Squarespace, the #1 place to create an amazing website. So that's pretty much it for this video tutorial, guys. Let me know what you guys think about the wave warp effect within After Effects. Do not copy this example. This example is a very, very basic, common example of wave warp that you see all the time. If you guys like videos like this, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe and hit the bell icon, and leave a comment down below for the YouTube algorithm. Whenever you guys leave comments down below, it really helps the channel out. It actually helps push our YouTube videos out to more people, and we really appreciate it. My name is Vincent Wynn from the Creative Dojo, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.